So, the next novel in Standard 12th, Section 4 for your study is 4.3 Around the World in 80 Days. Now, the author for today is Jules Gabriel Verne, that is from 1828 to 1905, was a French novelist, poet, and playwright. Verne wrote widely popular series of adventure novels, including Journey to the Center of Earth, that is in 1864, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that is in 1870, and Around the World in 80 Days, that is in 1873. So, Verne was also widely popular for writing science fiction novels. He wrote much ahead of his time, such as he wrote novels on traveling to the moon, space travel, extraterrestrial flight, use of science and technological advancements which were not possible or which were not possible realities during that century. So, Verne is also known as the father of science fiction. Verne is generally considered a major literary author in France and most of the Europe. Verne has been the second most translated author in the world. So this was some brief information about Jules Verne. Now let's move on to some of the characters of this particular novel. So the major character here is the first is Phileas Fogg. So there is a small description of Phileas Fogg for you. So Phileas Fogg, the hero and the chief protagonist, is an Englishman. The source of his wealth is unknown, as he is shown very wealthy. He is the member of a reform club in Liverpool, where he visits on a daily basis. It is also seen he is a master calculator and a very rich person. He is very famous for his punctuality, as he is never late at any place. So, during one particular discussion, he is challenged by one of his fellow gamblers to circumnavigate Earth in 80 days. He accepts that particular challenge, and the bet is of around 20,000 pounds. If we would calculate that 20,000 pounds in our today's currency, especially in Indian rupees, it would be roughly around 24 crore rupees. So, which was a really huge amount. So, the next is Passepartout. So Passepartout is his valet, his servant. This particular character is a whimsical character, sometimes serious, sometimes whimsical. He is one of the burdensome traveling companions. Many a times he creates a wrecks, that is problems and troubles for Fogg's journey, knowingly or unknowingly. He is a brave and warm person. He is always there for Phileas Fogg. Next is Uda. So Uda was an orphan girl who was taken or adopted by a rich Parsi Bombay merchant, later married against her will to the old Raja of Bundelkhand. After the death of her husband, she was forced into the practice of sati, where the married woman is, after the death of her husband, is burned alive with the pyre, where Phileas and Passepartout save her and she accompanies him on his journey. Later, we have Detective Fix. So, this particular character is a little complex character here, as he is shown as an inspector of the Scotland Yard, and he is both dutiful as well as he is stupid. So, inspectors are very smart, although here in his case, he is shown as a little, what do you say, you can stupid kind of person. So, he thinks that Fogg has somewhere robbed the Bank of England and he is the real culprit. And this entire bet of circumnavigating Earth is just his plan to escape from England. So he joins his company, and many a times Passepartout recognizes him as his plans, but Passepartout is unable to save Phileas Fogg. In the climax of the novel, where Phileas Fogg is arrested by Detective Fix and later he is left by him, where Detective Fix learns this thing that the real robber has already been captured by the police. Now, moving on to the theme of the novel, there are few minor characters. Let's read about them. First is Sir Francis Cromarty, John Bunsby, the Reform Club members, the Parsi Guide, Colonel Stam Proctor, Mr. Cammerfield, Mr. Mandyboy, Elder William Hitch, Murch, and Captain Smith of the novel. The novel is full of adventures and excitement which the readers come across. So, the novel is full of adventures. This is what we come to know. From the beginning, we come across and enjoy from the beginning to the end. So there are different types of adventures from the starting till the ending. Phileas Fogg, the major character in the novel, accepts the challenge to go around the world in 80 days, and in accomplishing this feat, he goes through various lands and meets with diverse adventures. So, first, we have to understand the time during which this entire novel was written. This novel was written during the time of 1800 and between the time of 1900s. So, understanding the time period, it is very important to understand some facts. The first fact is that the transportation used during these days or during the 19th centuries was not evolved. There were no aeroplanes, there were only ships, there were no railways. Yes, there were a few railways, but they were just they were limited to some particular region. So if Phileas Fogg, the major character, that is the hero of the entire novel, if he had accepted this challenge, how would he complete it? This was the most important questions in the mind of the readers, the audience like us, who thought that if a particular person such as Phileas Fogg is accepting such kind of a challenge that around 80 days he'll complete the circumference of Earth. That means he'll go around the entire Earth. Okay, he will cover the entire circumference of, or you can say the circumnavigation of the entire Earth in 80 days. So this was something that was very new in the adventure novel, what is say genre. Many of the writers during these times wrote almost of some of the adventures which were very easy and what is it, easily digestible. But the writing such a thing that circumnavigating the entire Earth that only in 80 days, that was something new in the genre of adventure. Moving on, we come to see that while he completes this challenge, he goes through various lands and meets with diverse adventures. So not only different types of countries he's been through, but he meets a different type of people, and he also understands different types of cultures. Thus the novel proceeds at a fast pace, and there is always some excitement resulting from the various encounters. The beauty of the novel is that the writer takes the readers to a journey of many hair-raising incidents and exciting adventures, then adventurous, thrilling yet beautiful places in the world. So the main theme or the main actually extract of the novel is how different types of adventures are, what to say, well mixed into the novel. So at every what to say, at the every end of the parts, we come across some kind of adventure. So the novel's main beauty is this, that we as readers are hold intact inside the novel. We don't know what's going to happen next. So this is the main theme. The beauty of the novel is that the writer takes us, the audience, to a journey at a hair-raising incidents. That means at some incidents we'll feel very happy, somewhere we'll feel very sad, somewhere the incidents are very adventurous, some places they are thrilling, exciting, and also we come to go, or we come to know about different beautiful places in the world. The most important feature of this adventure novel is time. So if you are talking about not only the different places of the world but also time, it illustrates repeatedly that time is fickle. It shows that time is timeless, something that can that always changes. Time is always changing from one to another and either works for or against them. So time in this particular case is something that sometimes works for them and sometimes it does not work for them. In many cases, time foils their plans when the delay builds up and the ships and the trains leave without them, that sometimes land the character in trouble. In the end, Fogg wins the bet as he gained a day when crossing the international dateline. The ultimate message is that no one can control time. Time will work the way it wants to work, and humans are at its mercy. So, the message that we get from this particular paragraph is that time is not something that humans can control. Time will always be eternal. We humans cannot control time. This is what the message has to be given by this particular what do you say, novel. Before his journey around the world, Fogg lived a solitary life. He chose himself off to others and cared little about the way he was perceived by other people. By the end of the trip, through he recognizes the importance of human connections, both in the form of love with Uda and friendship and loyalty with Passepartout. Above all, his new understanding and appreciation is the greatest thing he has gained from this trip. So before this, before the novel or before the journey of him, Phileas Fogg, circumnavigating the earth, he only thought about himself. He was a lonely person, a lone person, one man army. But during his entire journey, he met new people. He met Uda. He developed friendship with her. He found his lady love. In the end of the novel, he got married to her. He also understood that Passepartout is not only his servant but also his closest friend. Though he has the opportunity to double his fortune, Fogg's motivation to embark on such a crazy adventure has little to do with the money. Instead, he wants to preserve his honor and prove his word to the men of the Reform Club to show that he can do what he sets out to do. So the entire journey where we think that Fogg has set out to win the money, the 20,000 pounds, it is not about that. He just wanted to prove his point that he said that he could circumnavigate Earth within 80 days, and that is what he really wanted. So money has no importance in Fogg's life. Throughout the entire trip, Fogg and his group encounter various obstacles standing in their way. These challenges allow them to use their quick thinking to come up with innovative solutions to even the most complicated of problems, relaying the message that no problem is unsolvable. It is not only Fogg who shows his clever wit in the coming up with solutions. Passepartout too shows his ingenuity in multiple situations. So this entire journey was not a eye opener for Fogg, but it was also for the other characters, such as it was an eye opener for Passepartout. Then you have Detective Fish and Uda. So it is not only his journey; it's a total teamwork. He understood that without his team, he could not have overcome the problems. It also made him believe that nothing is impossible. Now, moving on towards the plot of the novel, let's discuss about the plot of the novel. Around the World in 80 Days begins at the Reform Club in England with Phileas Fogg, Thomas Flanagan, Samuel Fallantin, and John Sullivan sitting by a fireplace reading newspapers. So, these are the names of some of the members of the Reform Club, including Phileas Fogg. We are introduced to the Fogg, a very precise man who regularly goes to the Reform Club every evening. So this Reform Club is a place where all the rich people or rich men, young men of that particular city gather together to to spend some quality time. At the Reform Club, Fogg, Flanagan, Fallentin, and Sullivan are talking about a recent bank robbery at the Bank of England. This conversation leads to a wager. Wager means a bet. Fogg is quite sure he can travel around the world in 80 days, while Sullivan doesn't believe it can be done. So, Sullivan, Flanagan, and Fallentin think Fogg is not considering the unexpected. All of the men accept the wager for 20,000 pounds. So, somewhere here we see that Fogg is really not worried about time. He believes that he can control time. So, he says that I can just travel around the world in 80 days if you challenge so. And all of them decide to give him a bet of $20,000, 20,000 pounds. This is the beginning of the entire plot, and from then on, we see that how Fogg goes around the world, and we witness the amazing adventures that he has with his companions. So, this is how the main plot of the story or the main plot of the novel begins with Fogg and his companions deciding to circumnavigate Earth. So, his companions is one of his servants, and later he joined by Uda. So this is where the main plot or the main story begins. The main plot is based on Fogg's travels, while other such plots merely support the central theme. Fix the detective follows Fogg all over. He believes that Fogg is the bank robber who has robbed a great sum from the Bank of England. He puts obstacles in Fogg's path just that he can arrest him whenever he gets the warrant from England. So Fogg Fix here is one of the detectives that we had already discussed in the character sketch when we had begun explaining the entire theme and the plot. So Fix believes that somewhere Fogg is trying to run away from England because he has a great sum of amount now. He does not have anything to do with the bet. He just wants to escape England because once he's off the shores of England, nobody can catch him. So he just makes some dirty plans. He's the antagonist. He creates troubles to just get hold of Fogg. The suspicion that Fogg might be a clever gentleman robber is the sub theme of the book, and the author makes the reader also suspicious. So, not only just anybody like you and me, the author just try to make it so convincing that the readers, not only the readers, but his very close friend Passepartout, his servant, also thinks whether his master could be a robber too. Passepartout too wonders whether his master might be a robber, though in his heart he has ample trust in Fogg's integrity. So somewhere Passepartout has a whimsical character where he is a bit confused whether he should trust Fogg, or he should arrest him. So this entire plot is mixed into plot. The plot moves ahead with Fogg striving through various obstacles to reach London in time. He goes through Brindisi, which is a small port from Italy, the Suez Canal, which is in Egypt, then Bombay, now known as Mumbai, Calcutta, now known as Kolkata, Hong Kong, that's in Japan, Yokohama, China, San Francisco is in America, New York, America, and finally Liverpool, which is close to England. Fix arrest Fogg at Liverpool, and this delays Fogg a bit because in the entire story we see that there has been a ship from Liverpool to the respected place where he wanted to reach, but Fix arrests him on the basis of some proof. He thinks that he has missed the deadline and hasn't reached London in time, when in reality he reached a full day earlier. So this will be discussed. So it is as so that he wanted to reach there by Sunday, but when he reaches, he thinks that because he's being arrested, he has missed the day, and it is Sunday when he had reached there. But actually, in reality, he had ran into that place in Saturday. So thus he decides to marry Uda. He sends his friend, his companion Passepartout to find a clergyman. Then he comes to know that it was not Sunday but Saturday, and on the next day, when he was about to be getting planned to get married with Uda, he comes to know that it is not Monday but it is actually Sunday, and a very close day, and with a very close call, he wins the wager. Thus, Fogg wins the wager, and in the course of his travel, finds himself a worthy, charming, beautiful wife too, which is Uda. Now let us discuss the synopsis of the extract. As soon as Fogg, Uda, and Passepartout arrive in Liverpool, Fix arrests Fogg. Phileas is thrown in jail. Several hours later, though, Fix learns that another man was responsible for the bank robbery, and he releases Fogg, who orders a special train. However, he arrives in London late, making everyone disappointed. So in the beginning of the extract, we come to see that when Fix gets the chance to arrest Phileas, he does not think for another time, and he just catches him, holds him, and throws him into the jail. Where everybody is thunderstruck, everybody is shocked that how could Fix do such a thing? Because it is only Passepartout who knows this particular fact, that Fix is actually an inspector who's under disguise as one of the servants, and everybody is shocked. How could Phileas do something, and how could he could arrest Phileas? So, but after some time, Phileas, we can say Fix learns that the real man, the man who is actually behind the robbery, that is James Strand, has been arrested in London some days ago, and he learns that Phileas is innocent, completely innocent. And we, throughout the entire novel, we come to see that Phileas is a very cool person, he is a very nice person, an honest person, and for the very first time, when he's outside, he boxes a particular person, and that is no other than Fix. He knocks him out, he's very angry, but he has nothing to do because since the time that has to be wasted was wasted, and here we come to know that time has in some such an important place in everybody's life. Where Fogg thought that he has controlled time and he was somewhere manipulating time, time just taught him a lesson. But after learning this, that Fix, learning from his mistake, he arranges a special train to reach London, but unfortunately they arrive late, making everybody disappointed. Phileas and company are now broke. That means Phileas and company had completed the entire journey on their own money. So Phileas wasn't provided with any extra money from his fellow members, and his entire money, whichever he was carrying, that was around 19,000 pounds, were used were all spent on his entire journey, and he didn't have any money now. And not only he didn't have any money, but he had reached home and he had lost the bet. That means he was broke now, he didn't have any money, and the only thing he could do is go home and cry. Phileas locks himself in the room and for the first time allows himself to be seriously depressed. Uda and Passepartout are so worried that they too can't eat or sleep. So everybody has reached London, but unfortunately nobody is happy. Looking at Phileas, Uda, his lover, she is also very unhappy. Passepartout thinks that this entire thing has happened because of him, because Passepartout originally knew that what Fix was up to, but he could not tell his master that Fix was going to arrest him, and somewhere he also believed that Fox, maybe Phileas Fox, his master, is a robber. So he thinks that it is his mistake. The following evening, Fogg apologizes to Uda for being unable to provide for her comfort as a result of losing the bet. She, in turn, proposes him and he joyfully agrees. So both of these lovebirds, we can say both of them agree, accept the love for each other, and they decide to marry each other. Passepartout is sent to engage a clergyman. He runs off to get a reverend to marry Fogg and Uda the next day. So, according to Fogg, it is Sunday when he had reached on that particular place, and next day is going to be Monday. And Monday is the day when they are about to get married. But actually, there was some mistake in the crisscross timing. So he sends Passepartout to find a person who will get them married, and when he does, while running to grab the nearest preacher to marry Phileas and Uda, Passepartout finds out that it's actually Sunday, not Monday, like the group has been thinking. So here we have something to do with geography. By traveling eastward around the world, Phileas Fogg, master calculator and obsessive organizer, has forgotten the time he's gained by journeying through all these time zones. So time zones are something which play a very important role in the novel. For those who don't understand that, the international timeline or the dateline is something that we must have little information about, that each of the country runs on a different time zone. In some countries the time is ahead by some hours, in some countries it is behind some hours. So in that particular manner, Phileas Fogg just forgot about the calculation, and it had already earned him a day. That means he was not late, but he had came to London just a day before, and because he thought so, because of his depression, he forgot about that. And now Passepartout has learned about that. He learns that their journey through the time zones had gained them a day, and that they are not at all late. So Passepartout races home, grabs Phileas by the collar, shoves him into a cab, and deposits him at the club. So where at the club, all the members think as if Phileas and the team, Phileas and company has maybe lost the track. Maybe they are so ashamed that they will never show up, and they are about to cheer the glasses. They are about to celebrate, and just then Phileas and the company arrives. Phileas presents himself within minutes to spare effectively and wins the bet of £20,000. He's rich once again, but more important, as he says to himself, he has won the heart of a charming woman. This is the synopsis of the extract. Here I end today's lecture. In the next lecture, we shall be meeting with the brainstorming question and answer.